What's up, and welcome back to the Physique Development Podcast. Today's episode is one that hits really, really close to home for me, not just because of the transformation that we're going to talk about, but because of who it's with. You're about to meet Jessica. She's a full-time nurse, a mother of 3, and someone who, like so many others, felt stuck in the haze of postpartum, sleepless nights, and putting herself last. When we started working together, Jessica was 4 months postpartum with her 3rd child, exhausted, frustrated, feeling like she had tried everything and still wasn't seeing progress. But what makes this conversation special isn't just the physical transformation, although that's incredible too. It's the way she reclaimed her energy, her self-worth, her confidence, and the ripple effect it had on her marriage, her motherhood, and her mindset. We talk about everything from the fears she had before signing up to the real life challenges of tracking macros with 3 kids, working long shifts, and trying to show up for herself when motivation was nowhere to be found. This episode is for every woman who has ever said, now's just not the right time, and deep down knows that waiting won't change anything. Jessica's story is raw, it's honest, and it's proof that with the right structure, support, and a little bit of courage, you can change everything. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Physique Development Podcast. We have an incredible episode today, an episode that I have been very excited about, an episode that I admittedly am nervous about. This is new for us, and I am excited to have conversation with my client, Jessica. Jessica, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm very happy to have you. And how are you feeling in what we're going to be covering today of just your journey from the time of us starting to work together to where you're at now?
I'm excited. I was really excited when you asked me to be on the podcast, this is so out of my realm. I've never done this before.
Yes.
But I'm excited to talk about our journey and hopefully help people understand kind of what you do from my perspective, because it's amazing. So
I love it. And I'm excited for everybody to get filled in and to get some insight on how amazing the process has been for you. But I want to get started at the very beginning. So let's dig back. So we're talking a year and a half-ish, a little plus. Mm-hmm. When you think back to even before us starting together, what would you say was the lowest point for you? And what was that moment like from your body, where you were at within your headspace? What was the lowest point for you at that time?
Man, that's a good question. So before we started, so I have 3 kids, and I think my lowest point was probably after my 2nd. I was exhausted. Obviously, postpartum is a whole different beast. But I've always worked out and trained. And after having my 2nd baby, I jumped back into it, but was not making any progress whatsoever. Even after I felt like I was doing everything right. And then I got pregnant with my 3rd. And during that time, I was like, I have to do something different. I have to do something different this time. Not when I'm pregnant, because I'm the worst pregnant person there is. I'm very sick. It's horrible. So I had been toying with the idea of hiring a trainer, and I had followed you on Instagram. I can't even remember when, probably a long time before that. But I was like, maybe I can look into that and jump into it after I have this baby, because I have to do something.
So what would you recall as the biggest struggle at that time? Was it more physical? Was it more mental, emotional?
Everything. I know that's a very broad answer, but physically I was exhausted, no energy. I felt like it was because I had 2 kids and just chalked it up to be that, but I knew it was more than that. Deep down, I was like, this isn't normal for me. I'm 33 years old. I shouldn't be feeling like this just because I had kids. Exhausted. Getting up in the morning was a struggle. I work full time, so that in and of itself, I just felt like I didn't have the energy to do anything. Be a mom, be a wife, be a nurse. That was the tipping point for me, where I was like, something has to change, or I'm going to go down an entirely different route, and it's not going to be good for me or for my family.
In the time frame of you having all three kiddos, what was that window like from kid 1 to kid 3?
So I had my first baby in 2018, and then I had my last baby in 2023.
Okay, so in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Okay, and so before having kiddo 1, very physically active, and then continuing to be very physically active, was it more difficult from kiddo 1, kiddo 2 to kiddo 3, losing the body fat after each pregnancy?
Definitely. I mean, before I had kids, I was in nursing school, which was a whole different beast in itself. So I feel like I still wasn't in the best place physically before I had kids, which probably didn't help after I had kids. But definitely after each kid, prioritizing myself got more and more difficult. And so that's why I felt like with my third, before I had the third, I was like, I have to get something in place now or it's not going to be good.
Absolutely. And how do you feel like that was impacting you from like your self-talk at that time? Like post baby number 3, how are you speaking to yourself as you're trying to get things moving and it's not moving?
It was hard. It was like I felt stuck and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I didn't even know where to start. And I just felt like this was how it was. I feel like a lot of times the narrative around having kids is like, it's just how it is after you have kids. Like, this is how it goes. And I wasn't ready to buy into that.
I'm very grateful that you did not
Me
buy
too.
into that.
Me too.
I'm sure you are ecstatic as well.
Yes.
How do you feel like at that time that was impacting your relationship with your husband, your relationship with your kids, the relationship with your coworkers, like the people you were around most? How do you feel like your body image, how you felt was impacting all of those things?
It was awful. Feeling good about yourself, it definitely has like so many benefits in all of your relationships. So with my kids, like I felt, like I said, I felt like I was in a haze all the time. So that connection, I was just kind of going through the motions and trying to just survive and not thrive whatsoever. And relationship with my husband, it was just like we were just going through the motions. And I feel like when you don't feel good about yourself, it's hard to feel good about your relationships with other people. And you can't show up 100% unless you're feeling good. And I can't believe, I feel like I've lived most of my life not being the best version of myself. And so I'm incredibly thankful that I took the leap.
Me too. So referring to the leap, so you've been following me for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Up until the point of when you inquired to work with me, had there been instances where you had opened up the inquiry form and been like, now's not the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So many.
How many times do you think? So many?
So many. Because like I said, pregnancy is really hard. I throw up the whole time. Like, it's terrible. And so I actually opened it up several times before that. And I was like, no, I'm just not in the right place. Like you try to come up with like, not everything is in the perfect place. I can't do it yet.
Right.
When in reality, it's never going to be the right time. Like, nothing's ever going to be perfectly aligned. And I actually did my onboarding call or like to get all the info about training when I was pregnant. I think it was August. Mm-hmm. Maybe sooner than that, maybe June or something, a few months before I was due in October. And so I contemplated starting then when I was pregnant. And then I was like, no, I'm just like not ready. Like, I needed that mental shift before I jumped in. And that didn't happen until 4 months postpartum. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I got to do it. Like, it's never going to be a good time. I'm never going to feel good. Like, I'm barely sleeping. I just have to do something. And so it was kind of like, I still remember I was so nervous. I was like, and after I did it, after I signed the contract and everything, I was like, I've just made the biggest mistake. I've just wasted so much money. What am I doing? My husband's going to kill me. But it was one of those things where I just needed to get out of my own way and just do it.
That was going to be my next question of, was there any hesitation or fear? And there certainly was.
Yes. Yes. I mean, because it's so intimidating. And when you don't know, when you've never tracked your food, or you've never had like a program or a coach that you have to like keep someone keeping you accountable. It's not just me. It's intimidating. And so I was like, I don't want to disappoint myself, but I'm also one of those people where I'm like, I'm a perfectionist. So like if I got to do it right and I have to show up 100%. And I'm like, am I able to do that? And I don't know. Honestly, I think I was in such a haze. I was like, I just got to do it and rip the Band-Aid off. So
low reps is best.
High reps is best.
Fruit is so
it's
good.
Terrible for you.
You should lift heavy.
High reps,
carbs
low
are
weight.
needed.
Keto
Squats
for
are bad for your
Squats
knees.
are great.
You
for
should
your knees.
squat
Knees
ass to
over
grass.
toes.
It's fine. It fits my
Macros is
macros.
for idiots.
When there are so many mixed messages going around, it's hard to know what you should even do or focus on. But that's exactly where physique development one-on-one coaching comes in. You might have heard of online coaching or even hired a coach before, but we believe in teaching you the why behind what we do while truly taking your life into consideration. We want to train, educate, and empower you to reach your goals and help you to stop spinning your wheels and just finally feel good. And hey, we're here to help you look good too. You need you. Your health is your wealth. So join Physique Development and let us be the last coach you ever need.
So you're coming in a little nervous, certainly hesitant, but you had already gotten there, ripping the Band-Aid off, and now we're in a place where you're receiving the onboarding information from me. Was there any sense of relief once I sent over your onboarding and like all the training that you're like, okay, I think I've made a good decision, but this is a little daunting at the same time?
Yes, definitely. So after I did the onboarding, after I got all the information, because you don't get into the in-depth stuff until we start. And so when we started and you sent me over all the stuff, I was like, okay, it's very daunting, not gonna lie. I was very scared. But it was like easy because you had a plan and you said like, this is where you start. This is what you have to do. So there was no thinking in it for me. It was just doing. And that was what I needed. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone needs that. I tell everyone every week, people ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, how did you do this? And then when I tell them and they like get this look on their face and I'm like, no, trust me, trust me. You need something, a laid out plan that you don't have to think about. You just have to do, especially because I was 4 months postpartum. There was no thinking going on. I was barely sleeping. I was just trying to get through the day. I needed someone to give me a full plan that worked specifically for me. And that's what you did.
Yes. I was going back over your onboarding today, and one of the things that you had talked about was you had previously worked with a trainer or trainers, and they had more of how you had put it was a training that you could have just looked up on bodybuilding.com mm-hmm. and followed yourself. There was no nutritional guidance. It was just very generic, mm-hmm. and you've strongly desired having something more specific to you. And yes. That first plan that I had written for you was you training at home, like you getting in the sessions at home and being able to get nutrition in place. And so going back to those first few weeks, what was that like? Were there any moments where you were getting positive reinforcement and the fact of like how you felt or how you looked that you would highlight just in the first, let's say like 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, I feel like like I said before, when I tracked before I started working with you, I was not meeting any nutritional requirements. So once we got that in place, I felt way more energy, which I was very surprised because I'm like, I'm not sleeping at all. So like, I don't know where this energy is coming from, but I love it. And then just having a plan, because my workouts were at home, just being able to go and fit that into my schedule, I felt better physically too. And I wasn't working out like before. I was working out like 2 hours a workout. And it was like, that's impossible to fit into anyone's day. Like, that's insane. I mean, some people do, which is great, but like I have 3 kids, let's be real. So shortening my workouts, I think the longest was like an hour and 15, and only because I was, just starting. But it was so easy to fit that in. So that was the positive feedback that I needed to keep going, because I'm like, okay, something's working. Like I didn't lose weight in that first 3. Actually, I think I did maybe a little bit, but it was more of how I felt, that I was like, okay, something's happening. I don't know what, but I'm going to trust the process. So
from my notes, what we had done was that we were increasing your intake because of the lower intake that you had reported. So we were increasing intake and focusing solely on getting great training sessions, being able to have better energy. And as we were able to get sleep into a better spot, then that's when we shifted our gears and allowed for to push towards fat loss. Like that was the focal point, was getting your body in a place that you could even try to lose body fat. And then we shifted gears to losing body fat. And I think that is a big part of why we had so much success within you getting to the body composition postpartum that you wanted to. But I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, just a tad.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing that you noticed was more of your energy shifting. How long after? Because I feel like sleep continued to be a challenge just with having a newborn for at least that first, I don't know, with you were 4 months postpartum. So maybe another like 6 to 8 months of sleep still being a challenge at least.
Yeah. So my 3rd baby was the worst when it came to sleep. And so, of course, I was really nervous that would impact my progress and that I wouldn't be able to reach certain goals because I wasn't sleeping. And I felt like that would completely derail my progress of not sleeping. But because everything else was in place, like my nutrition, my workouts, I had to optimize that, and then it balanced out. And then once I started sleeping, game changer.
Right. It really, like once the sleep got in place, it was like the turbojets had turned on in terms of you being able to reach far better body composition. Like your transformation photo is one of the most impressive to me in all of my work. Like that is the most honest thing I can say for this. Yeah. Like it is one that I look at as, if I was to have like a top 3, it's one of my favorites. So, incredible results and just incredible work ethic alongside of it, because we can talk about the total amount of weight loss. We can show the photos, but it doesn't tell the full picture of how many curveballs were thrown your way in that process. It wasn't just like, all right, I signed up for coaching and then Alex gave me food and gave me the workouts and I just did them. And then voila, there were things that had come up that, we really had to navigate through, whether that was travel or that was family events and those different things. What was the most challenging thing to you to find like an integration for the nutrition? Was it the travel? Was it figuring out how to go about nutrition with 3 kiddos and then also sticking to your macros? Like what were some of the hard things to integrate?
I think the hardest for me was because in what we try to do, my husband and I, is we do family dinner every night. And that's really important for us, for our kids, for our family. And so it was really hard in the beginning to make them a meal, but also stick to counting out all my macros. Because when you make a homemade meal, like you have to really sit down and like go figure it out. And then I realized that it didn't have to be that difficult, that my kids would eat what I'm eating. I just have to measure mine and they don't. And then what was also super crucial was that my husband has been so supportive with it, that he was also it kind of kickstarted him into being like, man, maybe I should track too. Like he's never had to because he's had such a high metabolism and he could eat like 3 cheeseburgers and still, I'm like, I hate you, but it's fine. But like then he started jumping on the like tracking. And so that was really helpful for me because we were doing it together and then we could still have those family dinners. But that was one of the hardest things. And then also just getting into the routine of meal prepping ahead of time and planning out my meals because I never did that before. It was kind of just like we went through every day. I had no idea what I was going to eat for lunch. And then that's what led to like snacking or just eating whatever my leftovers my kids had. And it was always, I was on my health and my food was always on the back burner. And it totally made me change gears when I started this because I came first. Like I had to count there was I didn't let myself make that an excuse.
Right.
And I had to prioritize that or I never would have been this successful, I don't feel like.
Oh, absolutely. How did you figure out meal prep? How did you figure out the family dinners in more specifics, I suppose? Because I know that many of my clients can struggle with the conversation they have with their children on mommy is eating something different than what you're eating, and it's not neither is good or bad. It's just that this is specific to my personal goals. Like, how did you navigate maybe the same conversation?
Well, my kids are 6, 3, and 1. So they're still pretty young that like they didn't really ask a lot of questions like that. But I would always try to find dinners that would be easily trackable for me, and it would kind of be like the same thing that they're eating, but just a little bit different. Like mine had no cheese or like things like that. Like I would take their meals and make it macro friendly for me. And I think that's what I liked so much about this training is that so many people ask me like, oh, what do you eat? What does he tell you to eat? And I'm like, no, like he doesn't tell me what to eat. Like he gives me my macros and then I eat what I like and what I want and I fit it into my macros, which that is the key. Because don't put me on a diet where I have to eat a bunch of vegetables and salads every day. Like I need to have my breakfast. I want my coffee with my creamer. I want to fit it into my macros. And so that has been I want people to know that you don't have to go on some crazy crash diet. Like you can eat the things that you want. It's very humbling though. Like when you do start tracking it, you're like, oh, well, probably shouldn't have that much creamer in my coffee. But so it's an adjustment, but it's definitely once you get started, it was so easy. Now it's just second nature.
Right. And I think one of the beneficial things is that when you do put so much creamer in your coffee and realize like, okay, not worth all that, you're figuring out how to budget properly. And then you get more awareness of how much is either too much or too little or whatever the case may be. And so having that eye for the quantities helps you long term because like your goal is not to track your food for eternity. Like this is in place so that you can keep the skill of being able to eyeball things to some degree. And you may go through periods in the future where you track again just to kind of reestablish or oil the wheels or whatever the case is. But this is one of the strongest tools that you can use for the long haul to maintain body composition well past your time working with me.
Yeah. And I love that because like you said before, like when we had curveballs of like, oh, I was going on vacation, I didn't want to track when I was on vacation. I wanted to be fully present with my kids. I wanted to go to the ice cream shop and have an ice cream with them. And I think the first vacation I took, we started in January and it was in September. And so I was well into my training, but that was the first vacation that we took. And I was so nervous that like the week I was going to not track, it was going to completely derail everything. And I came back and nothing happened. It was fine. And I had something to fall back on of like, oh, let's just get back into tracking and seeing where we're at. But it was very eye-opening and a relief to know that I can still live my life and do these things and not be weighing everything every second of the day.
Yes. I think that that's such a powerful point to take home, of the fact of still being able to go on vacation, still being able to enjoy the things. One of our most common lines that I share within your check-in is don't eat like an asshole, or don't treat yourself like an asshole. Like, I think that is something you can repeat to yourself. It gives you a nice little laugh each time. You can use the phrase in the moment and be like, yeah, I'm being a little bit of an asshole right now. I think I'll just not get my 14th plate of dessert or whatever the case is, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that that's just a powerful phrase that you can carry with you all the time. I guess on another note, when you were like talking about the curveballs and like on days that you were more exhausted, because it's not, again, you came in exhausted. We were able to get you more energetic, but there are certainly some days of exhaustion that still existed during the time when things were still going well. How did you still push through? Like, what did you hinge on to continue to keep after it?
So I think it's funny because someone had reached out to me last week and they wanted my trainer's information, which I'm like, absolutely, here you go. And she was like, how do you stay motivated? And you don't. Like, you're not motivated 100% of the time. There are days where I would rather take a nap than go to the gym. But there was this mental shift of like, I have goals and I know how I need to reach them. And you have to stop making excuses for it. Like, you either, one, I know the plan, and having a workout that I can just go in and not think and just do. That always plays in my head. Don't think, just do. And because if I think on it too long, like, my workout's not going to happen. But you're not going to be motivated 100% of the time. There are definitely days of exhaustion. And so you have to remind yourself that you can be disciplined. And so that was the biggest change and I honestly think the most important change for me is that I stopped letting myself make excuses. And I just said, like, you can be disciplined. Like, it sucks and it's hard, but it's going to be fine and you can do it. So after just going and doing it, I felt so much better. Like, I started super exhausted after I got my workout in. I'm like, man, I'm so glad I did that. And so when you repeatedly do that, I think it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. I mean, you're showing up for yourself and then also maintaining the promises. You are showing yourself that you are reliable to the things that you say you're going to do. And by being able to repeat that time and time again, you just end up developing such a level of self-respect for yourself that the only decision is to keep doing the thing that you told yourself you're going to do.
Yes, exactly. And I never had that before. I think that was the missing piece of, like, I could easily talk myself out of a workout. Like, I work 3 or 4 days a week, and sometimes I work 16-hour days. And so when I know that that's a possibility, like, I have to go to the gym at 4 a.m. If you talked to me 2 years ago about going to the gym at 4 a.m., I would laugh. I'm like, absolutely not. I am not going to the gym at 4 a.m. And then now it's so easy for me. Like, my alarm goes off, I get up, I get my stuff, and I go. Like, I don't even try to talk myself out of it because I have expectations for myself. And after getting into it for 6-7 months and seeing the progress that I'm making, I'm like, okay, this is working and this is why. And so that is the motivation that you need to remember of, it's working. So keep doing it, even when it's hard.
Yeah. And developing that is probably a cascade of reasons why you were able to develop it. It started with having the accountability, the financial investment to work with me, the accountability of wanting to show up for yourself and also showing up for me. And then the results speaking for themselves, that adding to that another layer. Because my follow-up question was going to be, like, how do you feel like, or what was the turning point to developing that? As you said, you asked yourself 2 years ago, you'd have laughed in your face to be working out at 4 a.m. But the key points of how did that come together, it's probably just continuing to build on some of those decisions that added layers of accountability, as well as visual evidence that what you were doing was working.
Yeah. And I look back at my beginning photos to now, and I can't even believe it was me. Like, I don't ever want to go back there. And not just like, people see the physical part of it, right? When they're looking at a picture. But for me, it's so much more personal. Like, I remember how I felt. I remember I never want to be that way again. And so that in and of itself is enough motivation for me to keep going.
And what you're doing right now feels sustainable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because before I was working out like 7 days a week and working out an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. I work out 4 days a week and I have 3 rest days where I'm resting. And it's like when I actually look forward to my workouts, the days that I do work out. But my rest days, there's like this, before I was like, oh no, I got to go work out. I have to go work out right now. But I've found that I've never prioritized my recovery, which was hindering my progress. And so now you forced me. I remember in the beginning, I was like, but Alex, I really like my Peloton. Can I ride it every day? And you were like, no, it's a rest day. You get your steps, but like take a walk with your kids, but no, you're not working out. Right. And that I was like, this is never going to work. I'm only working out 4 days a week. Little did I know. This is why you're the professional and I'm just listening to you.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, only working out 4 days, waking up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym on the days you have to work. Was there any other things that you would have never thought that you would do on a normal basis that you do now? I
never thought I would be weighing out my food. If we're talking like nutrition, I never thought, before I had this idea that like, oh, I don't eat bad, but my nutrition was so off balance. So now I weigh everything.
Do you feel like you're able to eyeball things like with your nutrition? I know it's better for peace of mind to weigh it, but do you feel like you have a better eye for quantities of food now?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was very humbling. You go to a restaurant and that's like, our serving sizes are insane. Yeah. But yeah, I can like, if I'm at a restaurant, because I'm pretty social, I like to go out with friends and I don't take my scale with me to the restaurant. So it's easy for me to be like, oh, I'll eat about this much. Or, if people invite me to their house for dinner, like I'm not going to bring my scale and measure everything out. I did in the beginning. I will tell you that I did, depending on who it was. But now I can just easily know how much I need to eat and look at it and be like, okay, this is pretty balanced. Yeah.
Awesome. If you were to look at what was the most powerful turning point for you that you felt like you were really changing? Like all the things we've just talked about have been a change in your discipline, how you're approaching things, but can you pinpoint a moment where it really clicked for you that you were changing, that you were a better version of yourself, you were tapping into a new version of yourself? Anything stick out to you?
Just so once I started, because like I said, the postpartum was really hard for me. I wasn't sleeping. We started my workouts at home. And then there was this turning point of like, I think I'm ready to like actually get into the gym. And once that started, my relationship like with my kid, I feel like I show up so much better for my family. And that, the aesthetic stuff is great, right? But like the way that I can show up for my family and my kids, the energy that I have to like play with them. My kids wake up at 6 a.m. and before it was like a nightmare. I could not get myself to get up. I just was like so sluggish. Now it's just, I have so much energy to show up 100% for them. And I love that. That's like invaluable to me.
It's one of the things that makes me the happiest for you, because I agree the visual and physical parts of it are great, but you being able to have more energy to spend time with your kids and just doing stuff throughout the day, performing within your work, and being able to end the day feeling accomplished with all factors is the thing that I probably care about the most. And I would say all the things you've brought up here have you feeling that way on a very regular basis.
Yeah. definitely.
Are you sick and tired of your glutes not growing? Turning around in the mirror and seeing a board for a booty? I've been coaching for nearly a decade, helping thousands of women reach their goals. The most common goal? Grow my glutes. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s able to grow their glutes with the guidance of my training programs. And for all this time, I've kept my best glute growth secrets only for my one-on-one clients. And that changes today. We just released our 12-week glute growth program in the PD training app. It is a 4-day program with exercise and volume adjustments every 3 weeks. You can easily access the program through our app and track every single workout. Each exercise will have a detailed video teaching you exactly how to perform each and every movement. And guess what? I am no longer gatekeeping. I'm sharing every single one of my best glute growth secrets inside this program. Because you are awesome and I want you to have this program, I'm going to give you $25 off, making it a fraction of what you spent at Starbucks this past month. Use code POD. The link to purchase will be in the description. Now let's get back to the show. So with your, I don't want to spend too much time on like the specifics of your fat loss or those things because that's going to be so different for everyone, but it was a substantial amount of fat loss that you were able to have and then also maintain while we've been able to add a considerable amount of muscle tissue. Mm-hmm. I think total weight loss wise, you've lost roughly 30 to like 35 pounds maybe from our starting point.
Yeah. And I mean, when I had my son, my last baby, I was, I think it was like 183 pounds, which I've never been that heavy before. And, I had just had a baby and all those things, but it was much more than that. Like it wasn't, I felt terrible. I didn't feel good about myself. And so I think total, if I'm counting that, it was like, 35, 40 pounds. And then considerable muscle tissue.
Oh, yeah. Considerable. Because when we completed the first dieting phase, it was something where we brought calories back up and you were eating more close to your maintenance or at your maintenance. And we were spending time just building muscle. And then we've had intermittent periods where we've gone into a deficit again to see body fat be pulled off. And so throughout those phases, it's just a totally different body composition from where you started.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Thank God.
Oh my gosh. Which brings me to, if you like put yourself back right before you started with us, being at 183 pounds, as you had said, what do you think that version of you would say to you today?
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, no, something had to change. And I am so glad that I did what I did because I wasn't expecting these results. I didn't really know what to expect when I started. But like I said, I look at my before and afters. I'm like, that's me. That's crazy. So yeah, thank you to my former self for doing this.
Exactly. Yeah. What have maybe with the age of your kids, maybe not, but for your husband, for your friends, coworkers, what have they said in response to like all the things that you've done? I know that you've had friends and coworkers asking about what you've been doing. And one of my favorite lines, and this is imprinted into my brain from your check-in. I don't know when it was months ago, but you were at work and your coworkers, many of them utilizing GLP-1s, Ozempic at the time, and they could not believe that you were not using Ozempic as well.
Yeah. And it's funny because, people get to see me now, but they don't get to see the day-to-day of like the work that I've put in. And so when people said that, I mean, I'm almost certain that people still think that I use Ozempic or something like that, which like at this point, I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
But at first I was so offended because I'm like, no, like I literally track everything that goes into my mouth. Like I want the credit for that. Like this
Right.
wasn't some easy fix, and it wasn't, I wanted to do something sustainable and for me. And so yeah, they still ask me what I'm doing. I send them all the information, and they get very intimidated by what I tell them.
Right.
Like kind of like I was, which I
Right.
think is a very normal response. But yeah, I feel like if you just start, everything falls into place.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ozempic thing, I don't know, whatever.
what has there been anything that your husband or friends or like your family have noticed about your personality or your energy or anything like that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many people have said, like I'm happier. Before I would only wear leggings because it's really the only thing I felt comfortable in. Now I can literally go in and this sounds very vain, but like I can go in and I can pick something that I want to wear and it actually fit and look good and I actually feel good in it. And so that people see that and people see how much happier I am, so much more energy. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, my husband will be the first to tell you, like, my energy level is through the roof.
Amazing. Amazing. If there's a woman listening who's where you were when you started with us, feeling stuck, unsure, afraid, what would you want her to know right now?
I think that's like a really important question. So I want to answer it well. I think if I could tell someone, it would just be to do it. I mean, so there's the financial aspect of it, right? It's a huge investment. But if you think about like all the stuff that people will go to Starbucks or go buy things on Amazon and they'll buy things, especially moms, for their kids, right? Like their kids want it. They figure out a way to get it for them. Do that for yourself. And I would pay double what I paid had I known, because you get one life and you get one life to show up for yourself and for your kids. And the benefit that I have gotten from this program and getting myself healthy, it's priceless. So do it, figure it out. If I could have told myself to start at the age of 22, when I was still in college, I would have taken out student loans to pay for it. That's how much of an investment I think it's worth. Like you're worth every penny. And it's not, a lot of people say like, wow, that's really expensive. And I'm like, is it though? Because I don't feel like, I know it was a financial investment. You have to plan for that. But like it was the benefits of it I will have for the rest of my life. And I'm not paying someone to give me a couple workouts, give me, some nutrition and things like that. But like when we do our check-ins and the knowledge that you have and the knowledge that you bring that's what I'm paying for. Like the years of education that you've invested in, which I'm so thankful for because you're so good at what you do. There's nothing cookie cutter about this program. It is completely tailored to you, where you're at. And so people are like, oh, like I'm just not ready to do. But I started at 4 months postpartum and you were like, okay, what is feasible for you right now? Okay, we're going to do home workouts and we're going to focus on your nutrition and we'll deal with the sleep as it comes. And every week we'd have check-ins and we would change things. Like you would change and like, okay, are you ready to go to the gym? And I'm like, yeah, I think I am. And so that's what I love about it is that every week you're looking at my body composition, you're looking at how I'm feeling, you're looking at my check-ins and like my feedback and you're like, okay, we need to adjust this. Like 1 week I was sick. And so you're like, we need to up your calories to help you get through this week. And then we'll jump back into the deficit when you're better. And so no other coach, no other program, not at least what I've worked at, has ever done that. There's no like one size fits all. It'll never work. And so I think you get what you pay for. And I think that you have to make yourself worth it, because all the other stuff doesn't matter. But your health and the way that you show up for your family, that's like priceless.
Yeah. Wow. That means the world to me, for you to have the experience that you've had, as well as just to hear you speak on it. It is my life to a degree. I try not to put too much of my worth in my work, but I spend so much time in my work that's very difficult to discern between the two. And I love it so much. I'm so passionate and I care so much for you and my other clients that it just, means the world when things work the way that they are supposed to and things align in the way, and being able to build the relationship and being able to, learning about your family, learning about you and all those things. It's just an experience that I'm always very, very grateful for.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing at it. And it shows how much how invested you are in your clients. And I think that's a huge reason why I've had the success that I have. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like the listener to know, whether it be about working with me or it be about your overall experience, anything?
I think even if it feels intimidating to do this, one, count your macros. Learn how. It's very, very, I still remember the email that I sent you of like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I was so scared. I think at one point I cried because I was like, oh my God, like, what did I do? What did I do? I just wasted so much money. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to show up for myself. But once you start, it's so easy now. And it honestly makes life easier, especially if you're busy. Like, I work and have 3 kids. And so I don't even have to think about food because it's just, I know what I'm doing and I have it planned out. And so don't let that be a hindrance for you starting, because I think it's really important. Also, get a program to follow for your workouts, because before I was like, I'd work out and it would be just a random workout that I'd feel like doing. Having something to follow and to progress on, it's a game changer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just not having to think about it. Like, it's in front of you, you execute and you do it well, you're going to see the results. That is the other factor of, like, even for myself, being the coach and having invested as much time into the education that I have, I don't like programming for myself. It is like I spend all day doing it for other people. If I would always end up putting myself last in that situation. And so having someone else do my programming has been something I've always done, because it just helps me out, because I can just get in there, execute, have great training, and move on with it without having to spend a lot of my time figuring it out, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that taking that mental load off of yourself and letting someone else figure that out, that's half the battle, because I don't even have to think about it. I have my program, I know what to do, and I just go do it. And so it's kind of nice, especially if you're having to constantly be thinking all day. When I go to the gym, I don't have to think about anything. I just do it. And then there was another thing I wanted to say. Oh, a lot of people ask me what we do, and they're like, wait, it's online? Like, how does that work? And in the beginning, not in my garage for the most part, like recording my workouts, it was very awkward. I was like, this is weird. I don't want to do this. But I was in the comfort of my own home. And then when we went to the gym, I still was like, okay, you have to like get over that of like, no one cares. No one cares. There is not one person that said anything, gave me weird looks or whatever. And like, if there was someone in the background, I'd be like, hey, I'm sending this to my trainer. And they're like, cool. Like, we don't care. They're there for themselves. They don't care about you. And so getting over that hurdle, because I feel like people are like, oh, I don't know about that. And then also the feedback that you give. They're like, how could he give you feedback when he's not even there during your training? But you record the videos and you send them back, and it's pretty much like you're in person. So think that that's a important key for people to understand, is that you're still getting that feedback. It might not be immediate, but within the next week, you were telling me, oh no, like adjust this. And then also, this is a big thing that I wanted to touch on, is that I have been working out, since my teens, and the fitness industry on Instagram and whatever, it is crazy. And there's people that like send these videos of like how to do stuff. And so I thought I had like a pretty good knowledge base of like, oh, I could do an RDL or I can do a split squat. The tweaks that you made, I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this wrong my whole life. Like, what is wrong with me? And so finding people that are actually educated and knowledgeable is so important. Don't follow some random person on Instagram. I mean, they're great, but you got to find someone who knows what they're doing. And I still see people doing certain things that I'm like, that is not right. You should not be doing that. And I only know that because you told me.
Right. It's I would say in terms of skill in coaching, that is the one area that I have spent so much time in figuring out the right cues to provide, because the cues for different things that would happen within an RDL or a split squat to connect with you and click of, oh, that's I can do this better this way. There's probably 5 to 10 different ways that I can say the exact same thing, but only one of those often is going to click for the person. And I've got to be able to discern between what is the thing that's going to click, and then trying those different things and the feedback and being able to draw on the screen, I think helps of this is where this is at, this is where this could be or should be, and being able to talk through those things. And also having a priority list, because when I'm giving feedback to exercises, I may see 3 to 5 things that we can do better with. But if I'm to give you feedback on the exercise and tell you this, and this is wrong, this is how we're fixing it, that's going to feel really overwhelming. Whereas if I take one thing that's going to move the needle the most the first time you send it, and we get that corrected, okay, did that fix the other thing? And I didn't even have to say anything about it. No, okay, then we can address that now, but it's way, way better for you to have 1, maybe 2 things on the exercise that you're thinking about going into your next workout, and being able to progress on that over time, as well as I think it's a really nice positive feedback loop to get the one thing, come back, you did it right. Okay, awesome. Now I'm just building off of the next thing, and it's just more momentum, when we're talking about doing better training or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I still remember, my barbell RDL, I think it took a good 5 check-ins for me to be like, what are you saying? I don't get it. And then once it clicked, I was like, oh,
yeah.
Duh.
But the RDL is one of the hardest ones.
Yeah, but the fact that you're even able to do that as a coach just speaks to your knowledge, because not many people could do that.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah.
And for the listeners, we will have Jessica's transformation post in the body of the show notes. And I almost said in the body of the email, as if I was about to send you your check-in. Oh, what a normal phrase for me. We appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you again, Jessica, for being on. This is awesome. And if you guys have any questions, want to see more episodes like this, let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. I'm rambling. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.